Hello, beautiful people. Let's talk about something I keep seeing get brought up in alternative spaces, particularly online. This notion that goth is just an aesthetic, much like other cultures, like subcultures like metal or punk or emo scene, as if there's not a lived experience there to be understood, but they act like it's just the look, just the consumerist idea of what they think it is. In particular, I'm not going to mention him by name, but it's a conservative goth. Apparently doesn't fucking exist. But anyways, I'm going to dig into why you cannot be goth or even emo or like metal or just like any of these subcultures, these alternative scenes, why, as if you're a conservative, why you are likely to just get ejected from that society, from those people, from those circles, those clubs, those venues. So yeah, let's get into it. So in particular, this thing is about goth, because goth seems to be the number one thing I'm seeing, and is it political? Is it not political? Well, I'm here to tell you, like many others, it is political. It absolutely is political. So even though here I am speaking specifically about goth, this can be applied to any of the other alternative subcultures out there. As I previously described, goth did not emerge from a vacuum. It emerged from socioeconomic decline from 1970s Britain on the heels of punk's rebellion against the oppressive conservative government at that time. See, much like here in America, especially in the current year, 2026, they were crushing the working class person. So bear in mind that context because it's very important. So punk exploded. It was raw, energetic, very angry, loud, very relatable to the average person. And post-punk came right after. And that was more dark, more introspective. And that essentially laid the groundwork for what would eventually become goth. Bauhaus, Susie and the Banshees, Joy Division, The Cure, Sisters of Mercy. These weren't bands that just accidentally walked into a darker aesthetic, okay? These bands were responding to a very specific, very social and political movement. Political, just, again, keep that in mind. Is where this all came from. The darkness was a rejection of conformity, of authority, of a system that was failing people at the bottom. And that rejection is not separated from its aesthetics. It is the aesthetic. And something I don't see get brought up quite enough is how goth didn't just emerge out of punk venues. It emerged from nightclubs that were already queer spaces. So gay clubs, these people that were marginalized, they didn't fit in. The early scene politics were based around creating a safe space for these marginalized people, rejecting those mainstream norms and fostering a space for these people on the fringes of society. So that is the foundation to it. Goth was born in political spaces that conservatives always wanted to erase. And if you think you can carry those aesthetics and claim the title whilst supporting groups that actively want to destroy those spaces, you are not paying attention to where you are standing. But the roots go even further back than just the British post-punk scene. Because before Bauhaus and before Susie, there were black artists already doing this. Screamin' Jay Hawkins was already doing goth before it even had a name. His 1956 song, I Put a Spell on You, was dark. It was eerie, and it was dramatic in a way that nobody had ever done before. His stage presence rising from a coffin in dark robes, incorporating voodoo imagery. That set the tone for the macabre theatrics that Susie and the Banshees and Bauhaus would later adopt. Without Black and Afro-Indigenous musicians, goth would not exist. Punk itself would not exist. Hell, I don't even think any alternative subculture would even exist. So when certain people talk about how goth belongs to white conservatives, like that identity, they are attempting to erase the very foundation that it was built upon. And hear about what goth actually is. Goth is anti-fascist. Goth is pro-LGBT+. Goth is anti-capitalist, anti-corporate. Goth is feminist. Goth is anti-racist. I'm not just spouting my own opinions here. These are the documented values of the subculture, embedded in its music, its history, its spaces, and its very community. The association with goth to the far right is a baseless myth. The core values of goth: individualism, tolerance, and the rejection of mainstream conformity. These things fundamentally oppose, they are antithetical to the values of the far right. And that has not been more important now than ever before. I don't understand these so-called conservative goths, or whatever, conservative metalheads, conservative emo, you name it. It's antithetical to the entire thing. And again, now more than ever, we are seeing the reason why these spaces were created in the first place, especially in America. I don't know about every other country across the globe, but I know we are dealing with some seriously fascist bullshit going on right now. And if you want to check out what I have to say, well, just recently I made a couple videos talking about it, more recent politics ongoing in the US. Feel free to check that out. You cannot be right-wing and goth. Conservatism as a political force is opposed to everything that goth was built around. Conservative politics attack queer people. They fight against trans rights, this group of people that makes up less than 1% of our population. It defends corporate systems that goth was created as a direct response to. It upholds the mainstream conformity that goth and other cultures like it exist to reject. You can wear the clothes. Hell, you can even listen to the music. But if you are actively supporting the political movement that is attempting to destroy these spaces, these communities that all came together to help create this subculture, you are not goth. You're just wearing a fucking costume. And once again, this same thing, it applies to every single subculture that came out of the lineage of post-punk. Hell, punk, even more than goth, arguably, is even more anti-fascist. It's hard-coded into the DNA of punk. Bands like Dead Kennedys, Propagandhi, Bad Religion, they use their music as a weapon against oppression. The whole punk ethos was created around rejecting social norms, oppression, corporate systems, rejecting authority and a state's control over your own mind and body. Conservative politics were always the fucking politics that punk was screaming at. Emo grew out of hardcore punk, specifically for people that didn't fit in or were too queer to do so, who were emotional in the ways that the mainstream would like to demoralize and hide. And conservative culture is what told them to hide in the first place. And metal, particularly extreme metal, has a long tradition of anti-authoritarian, anti-religious, anti-establishment politics. Black Sabbath was working class protest music. You do not get to claim these subcultures whilst you go out and vote for the system that they were built to resist against. This is very personal for me. Just little bit of lore drop for Arafina. Around like, I want to say 15, 14. Hell, I could have been even as young as 11. It's hard to remember at this point. But I started to grow and develop. And after everything I looked for to find my place, to find a group or a style or something that represented me. I always liked metal. I liked dark, moody, macabre, emotional, even like punk, like screaming, that anger, the rage. If you've watched my channel enough, you knew that I grew up in a very conservative environment, very evangelical, and I had so much anger, and some of these songs were the things that, like, the only thing that could release it. So you bet your tits when I see some motherfucker claiming that the very people that caused my anger to begin with were in the right, that they were they could claim to be like me while supporting those that made me emotional, that made me angry, that made my life a living fucking hell. I am not okay with that. It's not just a phase, Mom. Although I'm sure they thought it was. But if only Mom could see me now, but she's no longer here. But fuck it, because I still am. And I'm gonna keep doing me, and that's all that matters. I live in this aesthetic. This isn't some cosplay. This is who I've always been ever since I began to actually develop, learn about the world around me, and to really start paying attention and to ask the question of, who am I? What represents me? What really speaks to me? And regardless of whether or not it made me popular, like, sure, you know, you get picked on for wearing all black or doing this and that, you know, dramatic eyeliner, they call you raccoon eyes or something. So stupid. If you're going through that right now, I will tell you that part is a phase. Not you wearing the eyeliner, but the people talking shit. I don't know, I can't even count how many people I've had come up to me, complete fucking strangers. And they come up and they're like, I love your makeup, I love your hair, I love your clothes. I don't know, it can get better, okay? Because, you know, people grow up. But yeah, it's not always a phase. And these fuck-ass motherfuckers that want to claim the title like, oh, you know, I'm goth, or I'm emo, or I'm metalhead, you know, but you go out and vote for Donald Trump. Like, no, you're not, dude. You are not. Do not, like, we are not the same, okay? And that's part of why I love this community, because it was built by and for people who didn't fit in. People who were too weird, too dark, too sensitive, too queer, too loud, too much. And this community has always been the target of the political forces of the far right, the movements that conservatism represent. The same fucking people who blamed goth kids for Columbine. The same people who called us Satanists. The same people who are right now gunning for the queer community, the immigrant community, every marginalized group of people that found a home in alternative spaces. When I see conservative aesthetics wrapped up in black clothing, I do not see goth. I see someone wearing the skin of a community that would be hurt by the very politics that they support. So yeah, it's not just a vibe. It's a lineage. It has roots in black music, queer spaces, in working class resistance, in the deliberate rejection of everything that the conservative mainstream tells you to be. And that lineage comes with values as well. Not because someone decided to make it political, but because it has always been political. Because the people who built it were political. So if you are here and this is your community, hold that. Understand what you are part of, because the space matters. And the people in them deserve to know that this culture has always had their back. It's not an aesthetic. It's a stance. If you made it this far, appreciate you watching, and please consider leaving a comment, subscribing, liking the video. Especially leave a comment if this made you feel anything, or you want to add to it, you have your own experiences. I will read it. okay? Or you don't have to do any of that, because I'm not your fucking mom, but I do appreciate it. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one.